Then her spiritual director convinced her that her vocation lay in educating the poor of Cork. It was a vocation she would follow with compassion, faith and determination. Nano's brother Joseph welcomed her to Cork, where she secretly started her schools. After finding out about her work, he was furious at the risk she was taking. But eventually she won the family support, and she needed it as the number of pupils grew.
I took in the children by degrees, not making a noise about it. In about 9 months, I had 200 children. When the Catholics saw what services I did, they begged that I would set up schools at the other end of town.
The first school opened sometime after 1750. By 1757, there were 7 schools, 5 of them, amazingly for the time, for girls. They offered a mix of religious education, basic literacy, and numeracy, and for those who needed to earn a living as they studied, workrooms for trades like sewing. These schools were her joy, as she put it.
I often think my schools will never bring me to heaven, as I only take delight and pleasure in them.
After school, she made her way into the city's grimmest areas, visiting the sick, aged and starving. In the darkness of Cork's famously underlit alleys, the lady with the lantern became a symbol of hope. Nano knew she wouldn't live forever. She focused on finding a solid group who would continue her work. She said Nano went to visit her cousin Margaret in France. Margaret had restrictions that remained were still harsh, and Nano's activities were viewed with suspicion by Protestants and Catholics alike. Writing after her death, Dr. Coppinger, Bishop of Cloyne and Ross, lamented that she had been bitterly cursed in her soul.
Sa in this biased world. Your problems are your own to fight, only for you to overcome and get them right. They say we are moving towards the path of equality. But for a country like India, I don't think rules and regulations really matter. But what matters is the deep-rooted, narrow mindsets of people across generations. A very good morning to all revered dignitaries, jury members, and my dear friends. Lend me your ears and for sure, I am going to change your whole perception about women empowerment. Believe me when I say that women empowerment is just a myth in India. It's an irony to see that in a country where goddesses like Durga and Kali are worshipped as an epitome of power, women are still seen as subordinates to men. A woman is like a tea bag. You never know how strong is she until she gets into hot water. Actually, the foremost challenge in battling gender parity is the gender mentality of India. We Indians, right from our childhood, have been conditioned to live our norms. Still, so many women endorse and impose patriarchy, and this is the biggest challenge. In 2012, Booz and Company released the third billion, a global ranking of the economic achievement attained by women in 128 countries. And it didn't come to me as a shock to find India poorly rated at 115. No doubt, one of the biggest ticket reforms after 2013 Nirbhaya gang rape case was the setting up of fast-track courts for sexual assault cases. But for most of the rape survivors, the pace of justice is far away from speedy. Now, shouldn't we just applaud our judiciary for such an outstanding pace of judgment? What's even more shocking is that we have had only 6 female judges in the highest court, which does have a bearing on gender justice. A recent report by UNESCO stated that India is 50 years behind the aim of achieving universal education. Yes, my dear friends, 50 years behind the aim of achieving universal education. We all know that parity is going to take a long time, as our society still believes that when men are oppressed, it's a tragedy. But when women are oppressed, it's a tradition. To conclude, I would like to quote Twinkle Khanna, who said that women have been looking for capes to fly, but have been handed aprons instead. Now is the time to flip those aprons and take a flight in the clear blue sky. Thank you.
Kalpana Chawla had said, the path from dream to success does exist. May you have the vision to find it, courage to get onto it, and perseverance to follow it. An inspired quote by empowered women reminds me of the topic on which I'm supposed to speak. Women empowerment, a myth in India. Good morning, everyone. Today I am here to defy the notion. Do you think Sushma Swaraj, Anju Bobby George, Medha Patkar, and Aishwarya Rai are all figments of her imagination? No. We know them as women of flesh and blood, with spines made of steel. Women who chose their own destiny and made their country proud. Women empowerment doesn't mean to define. It means replacing patriarchy with parity. I'm sure everyone must be knowing about the social evils like the Sati system and the Parda system which existed in India. Do we still hear such cases today? I'm sure that everyone will say no. The reason being the fact that women empowerment was considered a priority issue by reformers like Savitri Bai Phule and Raja Ram Mohan Roy. Efforts were made by them to empower women. The result of these efforts is we have names like Manushi Chellan, a doctor, a model, and a social worker before us. To detractors who insist that women empowerment is a myth in India, I would like to remind them that we had empowered women from times immemorial. Women like Apala, Ghosha, Maitri existed in 1500 to 1200 BC when the rest of the world was still tottering on the path of civilization. Raise your hands if you know the names of the following women: Mary Kom, Indira Nooyi, Sonia Gandhi, Arundhati Roy, Lata Mangeshkar, and Kiran Bedi. There, your raised hands verify my viewpoint that women empowerment is not a myth in India. Do you think Miss Mehbooba Mufti would be a ignoring the improvement in women will be just like ignoring a surging tsunami. Thank you.
Well said, participant 2A. Indeed, the concept of women's empowerment needs an immediate and urgent rescue from the clutches of the would-be saviors in the development industry. May I now call upon participant 2B to come up on stage and speak against the motion.
To call a woman weak, sacrificing, has she not greater powers of endurance? Has she not greater courage? A very good morning to all the excellencies, respected jury members, teachers and my dear friends. This is me, candidate 2B, and I'm here to speak against the motion. History has seen Indian women rising to the occasion whenever the need has arisen. Be it the legends Rani Lakshmi Bai and Razia Sultan, from Vijay Lakshmi Pandit, Sarojini Naidu, Indira Gandhi, to Sumitra Mahajan. India has had women president, prime minister, chief minister, governors, ambassadors, and what not. At the village level, the Anganwadi workers, the midday meal workers, and the ashas have become the hands and feet of the social sector. The list is so long, and their achievements tell enough to have filled up the pages of history. India has a rich heritage of women achievers who challenge their limits, and the current generation of women is also carrying on the mental and rewriting the story of India. From sports arena to business entrepreneurship, politics and economy, they have made their mark in all the fields. All of you have seen the guts, gumption and a whole lot of glory of the gang of India.
The best is, speak, for your lips are not sealed. Speak, for you're not dead yet. But sadly, Mr. Fairs does not know that after 70 years in post-independence India, the only place women have been allowed to speak is well behind closed doors and in careful tones. And this is just the beginning of my exploration of the hem of the problematic dupatta under which lies the internalized misogyny of Indian men. Let me clear the air about one thing first. When you think of women empowerment, don't think of Kamalika, Prerna and Simar, who most certainly are not the flag bearers of the struggle of a Bharatiya Nari who still fights to bring a female fetus into this world. The Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao Andolan feels right at the grassroots level when the existence of that Beti is continuously threatened by men who still think that women belong in the kitchen. And no, this is not a rural myth. There are incidences of girls with double PhDs forced to give up jobs post-marriage. Every girl sitting in this room from any age group will tell you that they have bitten down their tongues in response to sexual misdemeanors because they were afraid that they
are right, left, center for being anti-women. But while I'm doing this, I'm surely turning a blind eye to the fact that it is the same country called as Bharat Mata, Mother India, not Bharat Pita or Father India. It is the same country where we go to temples and pray to goddesses, Ma Lakshmi, Saraswati, Parvati and Kali. India and the Indian government has always honored the spirit.
The Constitution of India begins with we the people and not we the men of India, providing an equally powerful mandate for similar human rights to all its citizens. But where do these promises of liberty, equality, freedom and justice vanish when it comes to the women of the country? At a time when the whole nation is aghast with the gruesome rape and murder of an 8-year-old and similar reports emanating from all across, who can possibly boast of a women-empowered India? We worship Goddess Ganga for purity, and then we pollute her with garbage. This very hypocrisy is reflected in the way women are treated in this country. India may have initiated many flagship programs for the upliftment of women, but the UN Human Development Report 2017, ranking India at the lowly 125 on gender equality and opportunity, portrays a rather dismal picture. From the 19 aborted female fetuses found in Saudi last year to a sex ratio of 940 and literacy rate of 65%,
girls are less likely to be born and even less likely to be educated. As per the Girl Child Progress Report, 27% of the girls are victims of child marriage and face domestic violence and dowry pressure. While no one preaches women regeneration, and yet the very fact that we are debating the issue and a slogan like Beti Bachao, Beti Padhao continues to reverberate throughout the country itself confirms women empowerment is not an established reality. Till the time, this primitive mindset of patriarchal superiority which manipulates the women folk, expecting them to be submissive and seek permission at every turn exists in society, women empowerment stays a myth. In a country where newspaper headlines overflow with crimes against women, where a cursory look at social media shows women being objectified and trolled for their modern attire, in a country where women are still not given equal socio-economic and political stake, with a mere 62 MPs in the parliament, where ordinary citizens aren't willing to associate with feminism, not to mention the gender stereotypes and prejudices, where every woman faces discrimination in one way or the other, and being treated equally is still considered to be a privilege, I conclude that women empowerment till date continues to be a distant utopian dream. Thank you.
A successful woman is one who can build a firm foundation with the bricks others have thrown at her. Good morning, everyone. Woman, in one hand having the ladle and the command of the kitchen, and on the other hand, protecting our borders, winning medals in Commonwealth, working in corporate sector, and whatnot. Not to forget that today's debate itself is being held in a girls' school. Modern India has seen women occupying highest offices, may it be Srinivasan, who in a male-dominated business of tractor manufacturing runs tractor and farm equipment, or Nirmala Sitharaman, who is appointed as India's first full-time woman defense minister, and so on. The 2017 statistics have brought another milestone for women workforce as their share increased by 11%. In Forbes 2018, Kiran Majumdar-Shaw, who founded Biocon, one of India's first biotech companies, was rated India's richest self-made woman. And why not to mention about the recently held Commonwealth Games 2018, where women exhibited their sports skills and have upheld the honor of India. Recent developments have seen women succeeding against all the odds to reach the top jobs in external and internal security, which has made India proud at their aptitude and ability. Who can possibly forget Tanushree Parekh, who in 2017 became the first Indian woman combat officer commissioned by Border Security Forces? Why not talk about self-help groups at grassroots level that empower women to become self-reliant and self-confident? In the current political setup, 7 female ministers are appointed, out of which 6 hold cabinet rank, the highest number of female cabinet ministers in Indian government in history. The first woman to head an Indian missile project, Tessie Thomas, has decisively broken the glass ceiling to make her mark in a traditionally male bastion. Today's India is a paradigm of empowerment where each one of us emblazoned strive fearlessly. And I leave you all with a vision. The air is filled with the spirit of hope, joy, and ministration. She arrives on a majestic lion with blazing radiance and an assurance of freedom from fear and evil. Thank you.
Of love. participants. Consolation Prize goes to Salmeen Hussain of Army Public School, Jammu Cantt. Quickly come up on the stage. Third prize goes to Nidhi Choudhary of Stephens International. Second prize is backed by Aditi Sharma of MHAC Nagbani. And the winner, first prize, goes to Dhvani Gupta of Jodhamal Public School. Congratulations to all the winners. I now request Sister Marie to felicit. Miss Ansuya Jamwal, Miss Archa Jain, Professor Seema Mir Arshad. Thank you, esteemed jury members. Thank you.
Presentation Convent, Sister Hema, Honorable Sisters, members of the jury, the school faculty, members from the school administration, and your students. Very good morning to all of you. You know, about a year back, I had decided that I'm not going to go to any of the school functions, only because of one reason. I feel this age that you're all in, the students, this is the most dynamic age of the human life cycle. You all already know it all, and you know it so well that I started thinking, what am I going to stand there and say before you all which you don't already know? But when Poonam ji came and met me from the Alumni Association, and I really thank her for that, and she talked about this event. The topic itself was so good that I got tempted to coming here, and then of course, being here in this school. It's one of the most prestigious schools of the state, and trust me, I know it as much as you as how difficult it is to get admission here. So combined together, it was too much of a temptation to resist, and here I am, and I'm going to be saying things that you already know. And the 14 for and against, so in all, what, 28? We heard 28 candidates. It was a very informative, gripping session. I don't think generally it happens in school functions that you doze off, you start feeling bored, and you start chit-chatting amongst yourselves. But in the last 2 hours, all of us were very involved. Every time a candidate spoke for, we were looking forward as to what would there be for against the motion. Right? So this topic is women empowerment. There is no answer of for the motion or against the motion. There is nothing that I can say or any one of you can say, or even the person who won the first award has said, which in one line can answer the question. Women empowerment is needed, yes. It's an accepted reality for the country. Is it an accepted objective for the government? Yes. How do we know? Are we serious about it at the Constitution and the Directive Principles? Yes, we are. Are we doing enough to implement it? Yes, implementation is definitely a question mark. But do we have mechanisms in place for implementation? Yes, we have, in form of bureaucracy, in form of officials, NGOs, civil society, debates, discussions, we have. And as I said, there is no one-line answer which can just, in one line I cannot say that there is empowerment or there isn't empowerment. But all of you who spoke for the topic, you all pointed out the systemic failures, right? Whether it is the judiciary, whether it is the bureaucracy, whether it is economic failures, or whether it is the crimes against women. And those who spoke against the motion spoke about individuals who have done well. It's not that that statistics do not matter. Of course, statistics matter. The examples that you quoted, they matter. This shows that you at least have an enabling environment. Maybe not up to the mark, but at least we still have the enabling environment for those few numbers to have come up and reached a level that you're quoting their examples. So what do we mean by women empowerment? To me, women empowerment is giving an environment to a woman to realize her truest potential. Do we have that environment? To the extent possible? No. Being from the Indian Administrative Service, I still feel we do not have the enabling environment, but yes, we are in the process, we are moving towards it, and towards the end of this discussion and debate, there should be at least one takeaway. I feel at the end of every discussion, there should be something for an individual to contribute. Is there a ray of hope? Is there something that I can contribute and that I keep looking for in my role, in my stage, as an officer, as a wife, as a daughter, as a mother? And that is what I would appeal to all of you. That you are here, you are amongst a very privileged section of the society who has got this privilege of being in the school, and this golden opportunity that you have in your hand, make sure that you make the best use of it, and that is education. Every day it should be a struggle that you have to make the best use of what you have, which is your education. There will be fights, there will be struggles, and the challenge is to not let go. You have to keep motivating yourselves like I do in my personal sphere. I look for examples and motivations from real life heroes. Somebody mentioned the people who have inspired them. Similarly, I have my own personal heroes. So you have the challenge is to keep motivating yourself on a daily basis and not let this opportunity go by that you have as an individual to make a difference. And just with that, I would conclude, and I wish the school all the very best, and I hope to hear all the names who came up here and spoke for and against the motion. It was a very difficult task, but in times to come, I hope to hear some of these names as the young women and men achievers of the country. And I wish you all the very best. Thank you.